Welcome back to Rich Words Music, where today we're looking at this. It's the NUX Tape Echo, and this is a tape delay pedal that is very clearly influenced by the legendary and iconic Roland Space Echo delay unit. I'm pretty sure that almost every single one of you watching this will know the Space Echo delay, but just to give you a very quick and potted history of it, the original Roland Space Echo came out in the early 70s, so around 50 years ago. It was a tape-based delay which actually had physical tape inside it. So guitarists would record their tones onto what was called a tape recording head, and they could play it back on up to 3 separate playback heads, and that gave you lovely, warm, warbling, analog tape delays, which could also be very rhythmic in nature if you used the 3 different delays to creative effect. And that's what we're kind of replacing the effect of in digital form, of course, with the NUX Tape Echo. Now, there's been a bunch of other pedals that have done the Space Echo thing by Roland Boss themselves too. So they came out with the RE20, a double foot switch pedal, around 15 years ago, and this year, 2022, we'll see the release of the RE2, a compact single Boss pedal sized unit doing the Space Echo thing. And NUX themselves are no strangers to the Space Echo game, having previously released the Tape Core Deluxe pedal, which is very much a simplified, streamlined and single foot switch version of the current Tape Echo pedal that I have here. I should say, by the way, that NUX sent this pedal to me. I didn't buy it myself. Actually, I'm recording this in March 2022 and the pedal hasn't even been released yet. But it's going to cost around €180, $180 or 150 Great British pounds, so it's a rather affordable take on the Space Echo. So let me go ahead and tell you what we've actually got on this unit then. So this is the pedal. You can quite clearly see from the visuals with the silver, grey and the green there that it's going after the Space Echo in terms of aesthetics as well as tones. We've got 2 foot switches here then. This is the on and off switch to turn your delay on and off, and this is the tap tempo foot switch that you can use to control the speed of the delays with your foot if you've got the pedal on a pedal board, for example. Now, this pedal does include a looper too, and you press and hold the 2 switches down to access the looper, which you then control with the on switch here. Now, the control panel here is made up of 2 rows. On the bottom row, we have 4 control knobs. We have a time knob, which again lets you control the time between your delay repeats. We have a repeat knob that lets you control the number of delay repeats that you have, and you can go all the way from having just the one through to infinite self-oscillation by turning it all the way up. Next to that, we have a level control that lets you control the level, the volume of your delay repeats, and on the right we have a reverb control. Now, the original Space Echo did have a spring reverb built in, and what you get on this pedal is a really nice NUX take on the spring reverb. But as you turn this one up to about halfway, maybe even more, it starts to become, in my opinion, a mixture between a spring reverb and perhaps a plate or a hall. So it's really, really good, big sounding, sounds lush, and is perfect for ambient type guitar tones, which you're about to hear in a second. On the top row here, we have a 2-band EQ, so bass and treble knobs, which control the tonality of the delay repeats. They don't affect the tone of the reverb. Next to that, we have a small visual display here, which gives you a handy visual representation of which of the pedal's 3 heads are on or off at any one time. And you control which of those delay heads are on or off by twisting the select knob here. So because we've got 3 different heads, we have 7 different combinations in total. If you twist this all the way to the right, it actually turns off all of the delay heads, and you have access to the reverb independently, so you can effectively use this pedal just as a reverb pedal. Now, if you hold down the select switch for about a second, you can access the secondary functions of this pedal via the screen as well, which include wow and flutter controls to change the age of the tape in the delay pedal and give you a bit more modulation and warbly tones. Really, really nice effects that we're also going to hear throughout the playing part of this demo. And there's a few other little options that you'll be seeing right now on the screen, courtesy of the software editor that is available for this pedal. So by connecting a USB-C lead to your computer, you can actually control all of the Tape Echo's functions on one screen, as you're seeing here, which for me personally, in many respects, makes it a lot easier to control, because using the select knob can get a little bit fiddly at times. Now let's just take a look at the back top panel of the pedal here. Here we have the input where you put your guitar jack in. Here we have an expression pedal input, and you can choose between a few different features of the pedal that you control via an expression pedal. Here we have 2 outs, because this pedal can be used in stereo, which I'm not going to be doing today. This is the USB-C output where you go in to your computer to use the editor, and it's a standard 9-volt power supply. And over here on the other side of the pedal, we have mini in and out ports, and they're actually mini ones. And a super cool thing is the fact that NUX supplies the MIDI connectors that you can use with this pedal. Many of the features of the pedal are actually controllable via MIDI, and that's something that you can also access using the editor. But enough talk then, let's actually play the pedal now. and my rig for today is going to be my Hughes & Kettner Black Spirit 200 head together with my vintage V100 Icon guitar. Now the pedal is going to be in the amp's effects loop, and I'm going to play a bunch of different riffs in as many genres as I can and try and get as many different styles of delay and reverb out of this pedal as possible. We'll spend most of the time on the amp's clean channel, but at the end I'll also go to the lead channel to see how it sounds for playing heavy distorted stuff and maybe even a lead tone or two. At the very end of the demo I'm also going to do a loop of the pedal where I twist all of the knobs and go through all of the tones just so we can hear what extremes you can get to with the Tape Echo. Enough talk then, it's the NUX Tape Echo pedal. Let's play it now and we'll speak in more detail about it afterwards. Okay then, so that was the NUX Tape Echo delay pedal, and I hope that you enjoyed the variety of tones. And I have to say that although this is a tape delay pedal, because you've got the options of the different delay heads, because you've got the reverb, and because you've got the different secondary functions too, there are actually a multitude of different uses for this pedal. It's not just a tape delay. I found that I could actually apply it to many different musical styles and coax many different tones out of it. I hope that you agree, but leave me a comment down there telling me how you think this compares to the Boss and Roland Space Echoes, the digital recreations, and the original tape machines too. I would love to hear your comments. But what I'm going to do now then is tell you some things that I like and some things that I don't quite like so much about this pedal. So we'll start with the things that I like then, and the first thing has to be the tones. I just really love the warmth and thickness and the beauty of this pedal. There's something special about tape delay for me. I don't really know what it is, but I think it might just be the fact that when you put the wow and flutter into operation, you get a bit of a warble and a bit of an old sounding tape delay going. It just gives you a bit of an otherworldly sheen to your tone. It thickens things up beautifully. It gives you kind of a prog rock feel. You can use it for old school genres. You know, Pink Floyd used it to amazing effects on so many of their records, but you can also use it for more modern stuff like post rock, and it will sound absolutely huge, and in particular when used in culmination with reverb. I thought that the tone tweaking options on the pedal were very good. You can use the bass and treble to really get the delay types sounding different. I turned down the treble, for example, to get a nice representation of a more standard analog delay, and I thought that that worked really well, especially when using high distortion. It didn't get in the way of the original guitar tone. It just sounded cool and thickened up my sound, so to speak. Now, there are a bunch of options here, and I would say that if you're a tape delay enthusiast and a multi-head tape delay enthusiast, this is going to be right up your street. For everybody else, perhaps like me, I'm not the world's biggest delay expert. This is simply a kick-ass, amazing sounding delay pedal, and so for that reason, very cool indeed. Another thing that I quite like about this pedal is the build quality, and I have to say that I've played a few NUX pedals over the years, and a few years ago they were making some pedals with more plastic parts that felt like they might not withstand a lifetime of touring on a pedal board, that's for sure. But with the Tape Echo here, it's made of solid metal, the knobs feel decent, the controls, the switches all feel good too. I feel like this pedal has been built to last, so I like that a lot indeed. There's a couple of other things that I like about this pedal where I just feel like NUX have really sat down and thought about what people might need from this pedal. So the first one would be the fact that you've got MIDI control here, and because they're mini ports, NUX have actually included the MIDI connectors in the box here. I just think that's a cool thing. It's nice to think of people like that, because lots of people use MIDI, but I don't think that many of us have the mini ports yet. But there we go. So that's one cool thing. And the other thing that I quite like is the fact that there is free software on NUX's website that lets you connect the Tape Echo to your PC or Mac and control all of the functions via one screen. On reflection, I would rather not have to use software, and you don't have to use it, but in terms of accessing the secondary functions like wow and flutter, etc., I found the software much more simple to use than actually fiddling around on the pedal to get those working. Now, when you're connected via USB-C to your computer, when you turn the knobs on the pedal itself, they change in real time on the software. Of course, when you're changing things in the software, they change on the pedal, but the physical position of the knobs on the pedal don't change. It's a cool thing to have, and again, I wish that I didn't really need to use software to get the most out of the pedal or to make it easier to use, but them's the breaks. That's how it is with the Tape Echo, and I appreciate the fact that NUX took the time to make that available for free and to make it simple for tech novices like me to actually use. And the other thing that I really like about this pedal is the reverb, or at least part of it. Once you turn the knob up to about halfway, it starts becoming something of a mixture between a spring and a plate and a hall, or at least that's how it sounds to my ears, and I love those ambient tones. It really let me build some amazing soundscapes. But let's go into the things that I don't quite like so much, because I can start off by saying that the actual spring reverb in this pedal is not really my favorite. Now, you don't really get any reverb at all until you go up to about 9 o'clock on the pedal, and then you get a spring reverb which is kind of quite overwhelming for me over a clean tone. I really think that it was a little bit too much for me personally, and that's why I said that once you start to mix it in with the plate and hall tones, it sounds a bit better for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm still really happy that there's a reverb there, but I just don't really like the spring reverb when it's on its most subtle of settings, because subtle it is not. And you'll have noticed that for the country slapback delay sound that I used, I didn't use a spring reverb in there, and that was because the spring reverb really overwhelmed overwhelmed the actual tonality of the guitar. And on that note, I guess I'd love the opportunity to really tweak the reverb a bit more too, to go into the tones of it, to make it a bit longer, to change that spring into something else perhaps. Although again, I have to say that NUX have their Atlantic pedal, which is a focused delay and reverb and really covers all the ambient sounds I would want. But if I could change this spring reverb to make it just a little bit less offensive to my ears in some contexts, I think that would make the pedal a good few points better for me. Another thing that I don't quite like so much about the pedal is the looper. Now don't get me wrong, I love the fact that there is a looper in there and you can record up to 40 seconds in stereo if that's what you want to do. But for me the looper didn't really do enough for what I would have wanted to do with it. Now what you can't do, or at least what I can't seem to be able to do with this specific unit, is turn a loop on with certain delay settings and then change them. So if I played it clean without any delay whatsoever, I couldn't then turn delay onto the loop and I couldn't play a delayed tune over the top of that original loop. And if I had delay on my original loop, I couldn't then change it and play different tones without delay or with more reverb or less reverb, etc, etc. That just didn't work for me. So in that sense, the looper, it's cool that it's there, but it's quite limited and it didn't do what I would have wanted it to do. So it doesn't get the brownie points from me in that regard. And actually for the loop part of the video where I tweaked the controls, I recorded into my TC Electronic Ditto looper and just tweaked the knobs on this pedal because I could not, for the best of me, work out how to do it with the Tape Echo itself. And the last thing that I don't really like about this pedal is the fact that I found myself relying too much on the software to control it. And that's because I find it very fiddly to go into the secondary functions here and change my wow and flutter, because once you press this down for a second, you then have to cycle through the different secondary menu options. You then have less than a second to think about what you're going to do, or it turns itself off again and goes back into the primary function mode. It just got fiddly for me. And don't get me wrong, I love the fact that the software is there. I just don't like the fact that I needed it to get the most out of this pedal. By the way, don't think that you absolutely need the software to go with this pedal. All of the functions are in the pedal itself. It's just that for me, I feel like you need a computer next to you to really be able to get the best of the tweaking when it comes to these tones. And at the end of the day, I would have to say that what I ended up doing and what I will end up doing in future is finding one or two tones, set them and forget them and be done with it, because I don't want to be fiddling around too much with menus and pressing the select button or having my MacBook with me if I want to play a gig or anything like that. So if you're enjoying the Space Echo sounds and are looking for competition, what else is out there? Well, we start with the NUX Tape Core Deluxe, and that is a simpler one-button foot switch version of this pedal, and actually has pretty much every feature of this one. It just doesn't have the screen or the tap tempo foot switch option. It does have things like wow and flutter, and it does have reverb too, but again, there is a software editor that you need to go into there to access those. Of course, there are many other brands that make Space Echoes too. 2022 seems to be the year of the Space Echo because Boss is bringing out its RE2 at some point, so that's going to be pretty cool. I'm very much looking forward to trying that one out. There's the RE20 if you want to track one of those down, or you can go to the original Space Echo, the RE201, track down an original Tape Echo with proper tape in it, and I'm sure it sounds way better, but comes with way less practical options in terms of actually using it in any kind of a live setting or anything like that. There are plenty of other companies who build Space Echoes though. List me your favorites in the comments and I look forward to trying a few more out in the coming months and years. Overall then, if you love tape delay and if you really like the idea of the Space Echo with its multiple tape playback heads and its built-in reverb and its otherworldly wow and flutter and its huge wall of sound Pink Floyd tones, then I think the NUX Tape Echo is going to be right up your street. If you're a more standard guitar player though, like me in fact, and you just want a bit of delay to fatten up your tones and give you a bit of tonal texture every now and then, I think the Tape Echo might work for you too. It sounds great, it's built really well, it's nice and solid, it's stereo if you want that, it's got tap tempo and it's got MIDI as well, it's got everything a modern player could need, and of course it's got the software too if you want everything on one screen on your PC or on your Mac. Now what I would recommend you do is, if you're interested in a pedal like this, head down to your local music store that has NUX and try this out against the many other tape delays and indeed other delays that are out there. There are so many delay pedals right now that have tape delay algorithms and have Space Echo algorithms that you're definitely going to find something that works for you, and it might be the Tape Echo, it might be something else, but as I said, try them out. Most of them these days are going to sound great, but there might be one that gives you those features that you specifically need for your individual use case. Okay then, so I hope that this video video has given you all the information and all the sounds you need to know and hear about the NUX Tape Echo. But if you have any more questions or comments, leave them down there and I look forward to getting a bit of a discussion started. And if you're still here, please give me a like or a subscribe to the Rich Words Music channel, because it really helps me build the little community that I've got going on here. Plenty more similar videos to come in future, and in fact, if you'd like to watch more right now, there's a couple being recommended here and here, or you could subscribe to me there if you feel like it too. But that's been it for today's video. I've been Rich for Rich Words Music, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.